back to Dragonborn Industries where we're not ready at all in the slightest. I hit the go stream button before Richard was even on the call. And that's how we're doing it today. We're tired. We're surviving. How the fuck are all of you doing? Because, oh boy, the seasons are changing and, oh boy, is winter on its way. I don't know about you, but down here it is getting wetter. It's getting colder. I'm in a jacket inside.
I say we suddenly had the temperatures literally just plummeted about 2 days ago, and it's been nice. It's slipper and jumper weather, so I'm pretty happy.
Yeah, there's nothing sexier than winter wear, is there? Nothing.
That's it. I finally get to fully realise my lumberjack dream.
Oh, see, I was wearing a checked shirt yesterday, so I'm all about that. Plus, it's Halloween, which is it's just the best time of the year.
Fucking awesome this time of the year. It is
indeed. Anyway, this is Painting Up the Monster Manual live here on Dragonborn Industries. We're on episode 19, Richard, the Bulette, which is, I'm going to straight out say it now, a fucker of a creature. It will either go one of two ways. You will smash this, or it will smash you. So, yeah.
Now, is it Bulette, or Bulette?
So I think it's Bulette, because... that's how I'm saying it. But I understand the French with the single L and the double T-E, but it hasn't got the little accent, has it? Which is what I would say is... it's not an umlaut, but it's...
I was thinking, and D&D Beyond hasn't got the little speaker thing next to it where it pronounces the word on some of the things.
Well. Oh, I do need to resize Richard's screen. Sorry. Hello, chat. Thank you so much for coming in. Hello, Fluffy. Hello, Absalom. Good to see you guys there and anybody else who is there. Yes, so we do need to resize screen. Absalom Dak, hey, great to see you. Apparently, Absalom Dak says it's a Bulette. Nice. He called it a bullet for 30 years. Velvet Plums, the Space Marine, says I call it a bullet. Yeah, I think I go with Bulette, and only because...
Well, it's one L.
Yeah, but not only that is I'm the first person to rip anybody when they say it wrong. However, I'm so hypocritical because I say so many things wrong and spell so many things wrong that it's just a big thing around our table. So as soon as somebody says something wrong, we're all like, look at this fucking dummy. So, whatever, really. Anyway, the Bulette is, like I said to Richard, it's a pretty nasty beast. It's a CR5, so... Richard, by the way, have you created a level 3 character?
I literally just have. I'm trying to just finish it off very quickly.
You do that, I'll talk about the Bulette. These things are... And the reason I say that it's going to go one way or the other is because when I talk about the Magic 3, AC, hit points, or damage dealing, this is a... motherfucker. It really is something rotten, to be honest, because it has 94 hit points as standard, but if you roll them, that's 90-10 plus 45. It has a potential for like 135 hit points, which is ridiculous. It's got an armor class of 17, which is natural armor, and its damage dealing abilities are through the roof. It's insane. I think that like it can knock you prone, so it then has advantages on attacks. Its bite does like D10s or D12s. I mean, I need to look over the thing to actually probably have a look, but yeah, I mean, 4d12 plus 4 piercing damage on a bite with a plus 7 to hit it's pretty bad. So I think, looking at those three, this is designed to be a pretty bad beast. And obviously you're coming in with a level 3 character, which means that either the dice rolls are going to go in your favour and you are going to smash this if you've got the right class, or it's going to come up out of the ground, because it's a burrower. They are soul predators. They quite literally... come in, and I'm going to hit play on the music as well, actually. From underground, they sense movement, they come up and they swallow things, and part of the lore is that they're supposed to be myth behind them, that they're created by mad wizards who put armadillos and crocodiles and other creatures together to create these insatiably hungry beasts that just destroy settlements and hone in on humanoids, and yeah, they are absolutely horrible things. I've used them once in a campaign against the party of level 4, so there were 5 of them, and they destroyed it in about 3 turns, because melee class, wizard, all rolled like 20s. And it was like, done. I was like, yeah, cool. Happy days. Have you ever put these into your campaign, Richard?
I have never used these, no.
Well, I think today you're probably going to come away just like the Basilisk and go... Oh, not the Basilisk, the...
Basilisk and the Bahir, because I meant to say to you, I put them both in the same fight.
Oh man, that's awful. I mean, I know you're part of your high level, but like, Ouch. Pasty changed the bloody hat. No, I'm in a Star Wars mood today, and I've got the sci-fi set that's seen me back up there. Dibs, hello Dibs, how you doing? Miss Lounge is in chat. Everybody is here. So let's see if we missed any comments before it. When one destroyed me in Baldur's Gate, I was like, a word of magic, but I got taken down with a bullet. That took me a while to read that properly. Miss Lounge, Kinaroo, hey, how you doing? Awesome to see you all back. Geeky Phoenix, Chris, how you doing, my friend? Yeah, no worry, if you're in lurk mode, be in lurk mode, that's absolutely fine. However, Richard, do you have a level 3 character? And then I'll get you to introduce yourself, and then I'll stop fucking chatting.
I have my level 3 character, and I am Richard from Warrior Prince 3D. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, Etsy, hanging out here with the Dragonborn Industries, usually with a band of badgers and several other folks, and anywhere else you could, just holler for me. I am a little 3D printing company. We handle anything and everything we can, be it from little tabletop miniatures to collectibles to statues to terrain. Anything I can fit on my printers, I will do my damnedest to print.
And I think that is... You've nailed this description down to this perfect thing, because everything you say I can back up with grabbing a print or grabbing something from over here, and I look at the BD1 you made me from Star Wars across the table there, and I'm just every time I'm blown away the fact that you had this tiny little print, and I was like, hey, could you make that life size?
Can we make it big?
And you did, and you found the right way to slice it, and you worked your way around the problem and stuff, which is incredible, and he does print incredible things. What class were you, so that I can get ready for a fight?
I am a barbarian Bugs Bunny.
Yes, you're a Herringon.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, cool. I know where we're going to go with this. So,
Clive, my Herringon barbarian.
I love it.
And what I love... Oh, Christ, let me just sort out my HP, because...
Is it done it again where it knocks it all the way down to its average?
Yeah. What I love even more... So I'm a barbarian, and again, the random generatorness of this wonderful thing has blessed me with awesome stats.
It's never good for you.
They're awesome stats for a wizard.
Please tell me you're a barbarian with a high int and a low strength.
I am a barbarian, and I have 12 strength. I have 18 dex. I have 16 con. I have 15 intellect. I have 18 wisdom and 19 charisma.
That's actually not bad for a barbarian, to be honest.
Not overall. Not obviously, other than having the dump stat being strength. That's the best rack of stats I've seen off of the random generator.
They're all in the plus, and not only that, is you have that dex. So if you've got unarmored defense on, which is obviously AC plus your dex modifier, that's pretty good. That's I've
got a 17 armor class with no armor on.
Yeah, so that's actually the same as the Bulette, the Bulette, or the Bulette, however you want to say it. And I'm going to talk quickly about the stats of the Bulette, because its strength score is that's what it works with mostly. It's got these powerful jump abilities and bite abilities, and it's designed to pretty much eat anything. So its strength is a 19, which is a +4. It's relatively slow. Its dex is only 11, so that's a 0 on the dex. Its constitution, however, is +5, so it is a pretty hearty boy. Intelligence, it's a 2 for a -4. They do not think, they consume, that's it. There's no reasoning with them. They're not going to make NPCs. They're not going to get uplifted. They are just hungry monsters. Wisdom, it's flat 0 again, so a 10 in the wisdom score. And charisma is a 5 for a -3. And again, that's because you're not going to be chatting with them. So we do see that with the stat block, obviously we're seeing a lot of things drop down there. So if you've got spells and stuff that could affect things that are in those stat blocks, that's going to be the way to go. But you're a barbarian. This is going to be down to dice rolls. And I realise I haven't done my first roll of the day, so I guess that's going to be on the initiative as well today. I'm looking forward to that. I'm going to be painting up a WizKids Bulette, which I have primed in black with a Zenithal of a blue from the top, because I'm going to be trying to keep it to as close to the monster manual as possible, while also trying to keep it as easy as possible to do within an hour, as that's the point of the show. But what I do love, and what I did do, is this is probably one of my favourite poses from all of WizKids minis, because it's jumping out of the base with an explosive floor when it's together, which I really, really love that. So I've got and taken the base bit, which WizKids do, and I've just stuck a load of terrain bits on there, which is literally just gravel that I've glued on and then primed up just to give it a bit more texture. And that's what I'm painting up. Richard, you are painting up, and I need to go diving around my computer now. If you want to start talking about that.
I'm painting up a model from Artisans Guild. Now, these came from the set of the Gormar diggers, depth diggers. It is one of the set of the 4, so I'm painting just the standalone on the bottom there. They come with saddled versions and non-saddled versions if you want riders or no riders. These are up on my Etsy store. I think Ian's got a picture of the whole bundle as well.
Oh, have you? I've already got the one picture at the moment because it was like 1 minute to 12. So
no, that's fine. That's fine. I'll make sure. Now that's why it's not sent them through. So
we'll get a picture of that up later on for all you YouTube cats. But they are cool. I'm a bit interested in the fact that people are riding them because I don't think these are a thing that can be tamed. In my world, certainly, I wouldn't have these as a... Because they are just hungry. They are hungry hippos.
Oh, yes.
And that's the way to think about these.
I think they've been created basically for this bundle, basically to assist, obviously, with the gnomes that just dig and burrow. So it's a wonderful little...
They've just come through.
Very typical. It's a beautiful model, and I've obviously chosen the unsaddled version, and likewise I went for the pose where it's coming out of the ground, because I quite like that, little idea of jumping out.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. So, was it Clive?
Clive, yes.
Clive, the hair and gun barbarian. We'll set a scene.
What colours are you going with, first of all?
Oh, I'm completely going with the standard that is going to be on the monster manual. So we've got these browns underneath, and then we've got like a blue to a white on the top. Dragon Skull! How you doing? Beardy, Pasty, tell Beardy to add them to my list. Dibs wants them on his list.
The ever-growing.
The ever-growing. Right, so, Clive. Yeah, I'm going to be sticking with trying to keep it as close to the monster manual as possible. What about you?
I am likewise, and I am again basically going all out with Army Painter speed paints from Army Painter.
Please sponsor the show. I'm going all out pretty much with Army Painter, except for one, which is a contrast from Citadel, which is my magenta, which I'm using for the eyes because I'm going to let that sink in over some purple.
The only ones I'm not using that are part of the speed paint range is basically my creams and whites from Vallejo, because I haven't got the standard Army Painters paints. I've only got the airbrushes and the speed paints at the moment, and basically these are just going to be for a bit of underpainting and a bit of dry brushing over the top when it's dry.
Dibs, ever growing, I've run out of paper and ink. And Velvet Plum, absolutely love the Army Painter. Yeah, me too. We've done a few shows with Bandit Badgers with the guys from Army Painter, and they were really kind and sent me out one of their GM starter sets recently, and that was really fun to unbox and open up. They've got paints that I use the majority for a lot of my basing, especially this colour, which is probably my favourite brown, which is the Bear Brown or Oak Brown from the standard range, as that pretty much sits underneath all of my flesh tones, all of my yellows, all of my oranges, all of my reds. I use it as a base for so much because it's so rich, and also you can dry brush it over black and it looks really rich as well, and you don't need to do one layer. However, Clive, the Barbarian, Herengon, we are going to set a scene. I have an hour ready on the timer because we only have an hour to paint up this mini, and I'm glad it's only one mini this week because it's been a fucker the past 2 weeks to do 3 of them too. So, Clive, Agarath is a world divided by the seasons. The center, the equator of the planet, the world, the material plane, is in eternal winter and nighttime. It is cold and freezing. It spans much of... Well, nobody knows how far it spans in terms of around the globe because nobody's found a gap in it. However, from there, it bleeds into autumn. And from there, it bleeds into spring. And at the hemispheres, at the top and bottom, the north and the south, you have summer. You find yourself at the twin cities of Summer's End, on the southern hemisphere, on the continent of Etherion. This continent is the only continent that has a landmass that goes from one side, well, from the south of the planet to the north of the planet. And it's the only way for people to safely travel through this winter band. You've probably spent years, however, whatever you fit into your backstory, acting as a mercenary or a guard or a hunter of monsters that gold for the kill, essentially. And you find yourself in the Twin Cities of Summer's End. At harvest time, because it's eternally summer down in the south, they have the best crops. However, where there is a lot of humanoids collecting, monsters also like to collect to hunt. And one of these monsters is called the Bulette. The Bulette, we don't know. You may have to find out. But a contractor's come in to try and hunt down this creature in the local farmlands that has been devouring whole cows, eating other farmers, and just in general ripping trees out of the ground as they go. You've taken the contract and you head out to the last known location and see that there are tunnels that have definitely been here. You don't think that there is a situation where there's a breeding pair. You don't think there's a situation where there is more than one of them, as these you know to be solitary creatures. And even when they do mate, the male usually ends up dead and consumed. However, you've spoken to the local farmers and you know that it is around here somewhere. We're going to hit the timer, and we're going to hand it over to you. You've got 1 hour. Go.
Okie dokie. Right.
I'm going to begin my paint job with that brown, and I'm going to use the brown and the grey all over the base as a wet blend between stone and rock.
Sort out my screen first of all.
That's quite all right.
There we go. Okay, so I will be hunting, and this obviously is just the reports. Is it just one beast, or are we thinking pack?
You definitely think one beast, simply because you know these creatures. You've probably seen them before, or fought them, or have heard of them hunting, especially in the Summerlands, because that's where the majority of people and crops and livestock are. These are solitary creatures, and you haven't seen any bloody signs of a mating ritual, which usually consists of a male and a female consummating, but then the female devouring and clawing apart the male to consume.
Okay. My first point of call then is basically hitting some of the local farms, local livestock places, and seeing if anyone has had any sightings, anything, basically any information they can give me, any areas where the attacks are more prominent, and basically trying to figure out the rough area this thing could be nesting, or at least the very place it's hunting.
Okay, so I will say that you've already kind of done that homework, and this is why you've ended up in this particular farming district, and you would have known that a certain farm, a certain ranch of cattle has been attacked recently, and it seems to keep coming back to this same one. You've gone to the farmstead, you've gone to this place, and what you've found is several fields where the farmers have to keep moving those cattle around. However, when the middle of the night comes, or when people are away, or one cow seems to separate from the herd, it's then attacked, and it's usually through one of these burrowing things underground. You then see that any fences or any small stone walls, you can see where they've been like disrupted from underneath, as it's then disappeared off in a different direction. But you can see that it's been coming in and out of these fields that you're currently in.
Okay, so I am going to pay the farmer for one of his livestock, and I'm going to set a trap.
Okay, so the farmer will be like, I don't really want to lose any more of my cows, but if that's gonna save the situation, then I guess that'd be 5 gold then, please.
Well, here's your gold, and if you do not want to lose any more, I would suggest you cooperate.
Ah, I mean, is that an intimidation?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Make an intimidation check. I'd say with advantage, because this guy's already scared and he's losing his livestock. But you are a rabbit man. I mean, do you look quite burly?
Intimidating rabbit man with an intimidation check of 18.
18. He's like, you just have the cow. Just have the cow. It's fine. And he's like,
I can bug you with a battle axe, mate. I'm pretty intimidating.
And he sort of like he goes over with like a bucket of feed and like shakes it, and all the cows start herding across the field, like, and they all like clop over, and there's tons of them. There is like 20, 30 cows at least. And then he's like, this one here is old Bessie, and takes her by this little rope around her neck. She's probably the oldest cow and the one that we get the least gold out of, and hands you the rope. Do you want to make me an animal handling check?
Yeah.
And in the meantime, I've got some greys and some browns on there, and I'm going to take some just water, and I'm going to start blending those with a little bit of that, just to get that wet blend between the greys and the browns. And that's pretty much it until that dries, and then I'll dry brush that with a lighter brown for the base.
I'm currently just dry brushing some underpainting, or using my dry brush palette. I printed myself. And
you can get available through Richard.
Yeah. My animal handling was 21.
Ah! The cow, Bessie, just
Cow go moo.
Cow go moo, and cow go with you. It seems to really like you. Maybe like you've got an affinity with animals from the Feywild, or just in general from your years of being a hunter or a monster hunter. And yeah, just clops along. Doesn't even look back at the other cows. It just thinks it's off for a nice day at the farm with you.
So I want to try and get one of the fields that's got like an outbuilding that I can climb up onto.
Very, very easily doable.
Right, and basically I want to set Bessie up in the middle, and I will ram in a hitch. Well, I say hitching post. Basically, on a ram in basically something to keep her tied to.
Yeah, not a problem. Very easily doable.
I'm going to then find I've got a couple of spare weapons, and I'm going to get some farming tools, and basically I'm going to tie farming tools and stuff to her, so that when she's swallowed or taken, basically provide a bit of a trap for the bullet.
Okay, so you're trying to set up with farming tools, basically a spike trap, is this?
Much a spike trap, so that basically when it grabs and pulls it underground, it will pull the weapons or anything in. It'll either inconvenience it, it'll get in its way, it will cause an issue for it.
Okay.
I'm not necessarily looking to damage the thing. It's just a case of I'm looking for advantage.
Yeah, and I think that that's quite smart. So, we're going to be making an improvised trap here. So let's look at... give me an intelligence check or a survival check, whichever one you'd prefer. And in the meantime, let's see what's just been happening in chat. I use their air paints with brushes because they're the perfect consistency. I agree. And actually, I do that with Vallejo airbrush as well. Their white is incredible. Sounds like my house. You can get anything from Richard if you need to know what he has. Just look at my garage. Yes, because Dibs has a lot of stuff. And then Dibs, how many monsters are there in the total in the book? I think we had a look at this the other week. There are a lot. We're going to be doing this for a few years. I know there's 352 pages or... 350 pages of monsters, and the last ones are indexes, so we're going to be here for a while. But we did some weeks where we do 2 or 3 monsters at a time if we think we can do it. But yeah, are you taking survival or are you taking intelligence?
I have done a survival check and a survival check of 16.
16, yeah, I think that's reasonable enough to set up a trap. And while you do that, I'm just stippling that same brown underneath the Bulette just to get the start of my blending for the bottom being brown and the top being blue. You get loads of pitchforks and you find hoes and loads of different things that have maybe like a sharp edge, sickles and scythes, and you manage to essentially strap them to the cow and implant them into the ground underneath it and around it, so that it's almost like the cow is stuck in there, but also if the ground is to go in, they're going to fall in with it and create a problem or some difficult terrain, or are going to create some damage. We will roll a d4 later and decide that one, and it'll be a 1, 2, 3, 4 re-roll, and it'll also depend what happens to the cow as well. However, I presume that you go back up onto the top of the building and you begin to wait.
Yeah.
Okay. You leave.
I'll basically do it as close to sort of nightfall as I need to.
Yeah.
Because that's when they've said the attacks are happening.
Yeah. And I think with that, you wait on this little outcropping of this building, and you watch as Bessie just chews on the grass. You hear some cows in the other field. Farmer's like, oh, come on now, we're going to get you to safety, get you back to the barn, and takes the cows to another field. And everything goes quiet. And as Bessie kind of clomps on the ground a little bit as she moves around to try and get comfortable or lay down for the night or chew some grass, she starts to make some interesting noises, and you recognize this to be an animal in fear. And you just hear this. And you watch as part of a wall. In fact, give me a perception check. You have advantage because you are looking out.
Perception is one of my best, and thank fuck I get an advantage. 16.
16, okay. I'm going to take some purple. This is worm purple from the armor paint. I'm going to put that into the mouth to begin the layering up in there. Yeah, you watch as one of the farm walls, this little stone wall, just shifts, like, goes up slightly as you see something tunneling beneath it, and then it goes quiet. And then you hear it again a few minutes later, as Bessie starts to get louder and louder and louder. And eventually, this eruption of soil and stone and grass just engulfs Bessie from underneath. Roll initiative. And this is the first roll of the day, so I'm going to have to clip this later and put that up on all my socials. Okay.
Right. I got an 11.
11, so I need to grab up the encounter so I can keep an eye on it. So you got an 11. And I got... So, with a dex of +0, I got a 7. So rolling low. You watch as... This is going to be a surprise round on Bessie. So...
Goodbye, dear Bessie.
Oh, and can you roll me a d4, please? And we'll see. So a 1 is going to be it damages the Bulette. 2 is it's going to be that area is difficult terrain. 3 is going to be 1. Cool, it damages the Bulette. Can you roll me 2d6, please? Let's call this improvised piercing damage because we're using sharp implements like pitchforks and stuff. But it rolls a 17 with a +7 as it jumps up and just whoosh, like a shark out of the water and just latches onto Bessie. However, it can't retract back down into the ground, so half of the cow is now just like sticking out of its mouth as it's just snapped in half with these powerful jaws. And
6 damage.
6 damage, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's do that one there. And yeah, we are now in initiative. Top of the round is your go. I'm going to start dry brushing on some electric blue to the top of this Bulette. As well as actually do the purple.
Okay, I jump down with my great axe and twat it then.
Easy enough to do. It's probably like 10-15 feet away from you with your herringon legs bound towards it. And yeah, make the attack roll. I would say you have disadvantage. I have advantage because of that trap, but because you didn't roll for it being difficult terrain, it'll only be for this round.
Okay, that will hopefully benefit me with a natural feckin' 20.
Natural twinzoni! Smash it, dude.
First roll was a 7. Okay, so it takes 24.
So for anybody who's not seen the show when Richard's got a crit before, or when I've got a crit, what we do is we do max all of the dice, roll again, and then add your modifiers.
Right, it takes 40 points of damage.
Oh! 40 points of damage! And how does it look when you smash into this creature, this monster?
As I literally lunge off this little shack with my great Bugs Bunny legs, I take my bonus action to go into a rage and scream as I plow down with my great axe. And I manage to hopefully literally wedge it in between one of its chitin and pull it out.
Yeah, absolutely. And it doesn't scream. It doesn't really make that much noise, but like the chitinous armor around its top edge like makes this like squeal as the axe hits into it, and then there's just this like low grumble, and it sounds like stone and a gurgling sound as this cow is just dropped, and it's literally half a cow left. It is already bitten through and swallowed most of it as it just drops it. Blood and intestines now ooze from its mouth and slop to the ground where these pitchforks are as it turns towards you. And yeah, it is going to straight up. Let's have a quick look if it's got any other abilities. So its abilities, we may as well talk about that while we're here. So One of the things it can do for its movement, because it has a few different movements, it has a speed of 40 foot on ground or a burrow of 40 foot underground. It has a decent skill of perception, it has dark vision, it has tremor sense, so it can sense vibrations in the ground, which is essentially blind sight. Its proficiency bonus plus fee, but it has a standing leap. The bullet's long jump is up to 30 feet, and its high jump is up to 15 feet, with or without a running start. So this thing can move, but it is right next to you. It is going to just straight up bite you, because if it's going to do its other ability, which is Deadly Leap, it needs the gap to do it. So this is going to be a D20 plus 7 to hit, which is, oh, it's a 10 plus 7 for a 17.
Just hits me.
Just hits you. So this is where it gets nasty. You are raging, so this is going to be piercing damage as its mouth just spins round. It's almost like its head whoosh, tries to clamp you from side to side. That is 26 points of piercing damage, halved because you are raging, to 13. As it latches on, you manage to get the axe out and just stop it from fully closing, but you wince in pain as it grips down at your sides. It tries to shake and essentially try and snap you in half like it did the cow, but you manage to stave it off for this moment. It only has the one action, it doesn't have dual actions, which is one of the bonuses to this creature, is that it doesn't have much movement or action economy. So this is where Richard could do well. Richard, it is your go. You are in its jaws, but you are not grappled or restrained because you've got your axe in there.
Okay, I will attack with my great axe, and this time round, I'm going to use my bonus action. So part of my my barbarian features, because I'm actually a barbarian class. I shouldn't be allowed without DM's permission. So basically, I am, where is it? Path of the Battle Rager, which is restricted to dwarves only.
So Richard's dead, and he's out of here. He's off the show using unclassified material. No, that's absolutely fine, dude. It's a one shot. I really don't care.
It's one of those things. It's random generated, so I've got to go with it.
Maybe you're half dwarf on your dad's side, and
that's it.
You know, I'm not gonna kink shame. That's not what we're about here at Dragonborn Industries. So, your dwarven rabbit stature, tell me what you do.
I have spiked shoulder pads, basically. So I'm going to lunge in it with my great axe, and as my bonus action, I'm going to armor spike attack it.
Okay, go for it.
18 to hit.
Smash
the great axe.
17 AC, so you won over that natural armor.
Okie dokie.
So for the Bulette, when I'm doing the dry brushing of the blue, I'm actually going to be going towards the back end of the carapace down here and across any top spines. And then as I lighten up this blue, I will then come in and do little lines, kind of Tyranid style, I think.
That is 12 points of damage.
12 points of damaggio. So let's add that one there. It's starting to look a little hurt, you know. 2 hits and you've like got it bleeding, this kind of mud-like ichor from its gaps between the carapace. Anything else from yourself?
That is it, I think. Actions, attack, reactions. That's me done.
Okay, so they don't tend to leave an area or flee. It's literally written in there that they are monsters that just hunger and hunger and hunger, and it will stay around until they're either slain or have consumed everything in the area. However, it does want to keep eating, so I think I'm going to give it it has to be intelligence, which is a really bad dump stat. It's, you know, is it smart enough to realise it's going to die, or does it think it can swallow this smaller thing? And I'm even going to make this at disadvantage, because it says in there, they do not consider anything other than just eating. So, 5 on the first one. 9 on the second, a 5 minus 4 for a 1. It's going to stay and fight. So, it's going to try and back up. You can have an attack of opportunity.
Okay. Uh, 17 to hit.
Just, that is its armor class.
8 points of damage.
8 points of damage. As it turns to kind of, it's not fleeing, you know it's rearing around. It turns and Dib says paint check time, please guys. So I'm just waiting for the base to dry here. And I'm just getting that blue layered up on the carapace, and we've got brown underneath for me and purple in the mouth. These are my base layers, and then I'm going to be working up from there. How are you doing, Richard?
I'm right. I am just going over. I know where my camera is. Going over the top with getting some of the blue, and then going to be going in with some grey.
Somebody's got priming fingers.
Yeah, somebody forgot to put gloves on.
I see them. Yes, so it rears up. You manage to hit it with your axe, and it then scuttles. And like it's these huge, heavy claws and powerful back legs as it then turns around almost on the dime and then just leaps from 15 foot away. This is its other ability, which is Deadly Leap. So if the Bulette jumps at least 15 feet as part of its movement, it can then use this action to land on its feet in a space that contains one or more other creatures. Each of those creatures must succeed on a strength or dexterity saving throw. Your choice, you can choose whichever one you want to do.
Right, okay. I am going to use a dexterity saving throw.
Give it a go.
If I fail, I will use my lucky footwork and use a reaction to roll a d4 and add it to the save.
Okay. Thank you for letting me know beforehand, and well done for checking out your class and character abilities.
So dexterity saving throw is an 18 though.
18 passes. So I'm quickly just going to let people know I've added some white to that electric blue, and I'm now highlighting just with a dry brush still, just across the top of that carapace. And then it's only because it's got a light-looking blue in the monster manual, and I want to try and replicate that as much as possible. And then we're going to go in and do some more detailing later. Yeah, so it jumps and boosh, it lands in your space, and the next part of this ability says, or be knocked prone and take 3d6 plus 4 bludgeoning damage, plus 14, or 3d6 plus 4 slashing damage. But on a successful save, the creature takes only half of the damage and isn't knocked prone. So we'll do the first one, which is bludgeoning. That is 16, halved to 8, halved again because you're raging to 4. You are not knocked prone. And then, as it tries to, get in with its claws, it does another 16 damage, half to 8, half to 4 again, as it tries to slash into you. You are pushed 5 feet back out of the space.
So is this an extra? Because obviously it's had 2 attacks. So is that?
No, this is all part of 1 attack.
No. That's what I wanted the explanation for, because it's a handy little information.
Yes. So this is all still part of Deadly Leap. So you take the landing of the bludgeoning damage from the Bulette as it's attacking you, so it's getting essentially 2 sets of damages off at you, which is freaking crazy, especially if you fail that dex save. You are knocked prone, which is just nuts. So its next attack on its next turn, if you're still down, is going to be at advantage, which is absolutely crazy. You are pushed out of the space rather than being knocked prone, and yeah, it just growls at you in this gurgling sense as it is now.
That was another 8 damage, you said, wasn't it?
Yes, and it is now your go. Div says wicked guide about the painting, and Dragon's got approximately 154 entries in the table of contents. That doesn't include the subsets, and we are doing the subsets.
Was that 8 halved or?
So it was 16 down to 8 and then down to 4 again. And for anybody watching, that's simply because he's a barbarian who is raging. The damage was halved originally, and then it's halved again because of his rage.
Right, okay, let's... Okay, so my go, is it my go now?
It is absolutely your go.
Okie dokie, right, that's an 18 to hit.
Smashes it.
9 damage.
Okay.
Bonus action, armor spike attack. I roll an 8.
Okay, so how much damage total?
9 damage. I missed on the armor spike attack.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, so again, you smash into it. Anything else from yourself? Are you staying there? Are you moving away?
I'm staying. I'm literally. I want to keep within its range. I do not want to move out of its range.
Okay, so you smash it again, and this thing's just getting angrier and angrier, and it's just going to go straight in for that bite again at you rather than move away. There's a 16 plus 7, which I believe is going to hit.
Oh, that hits.
Okay, so I'm going to roll this one up here. It's 4d12 plus 4 piercing damage. That's not good.
It's some nasty damage.
31 halved to 15. 15 points of piercing damage. How are you doing?
I am still standing.
He's still standing.
15.
Yeah.
That was a nasty, nasty attack. I will not be able to take another round like that.
So, it bites in, and this time the axe isn't enough to stop it as it actually latches onto your side, and you feel the power of the jaws as it breaks into the skin, and you feel your bones creak and crack. But it's your go.
Right, okay. Come on, you bugger. Right, 19 to hit on the axe.
Yep, gonna hit.
And 17 to hit on the armor spike.
Gonna hit.
Right, 13. Oh, 18 points of damage.
18 points of damage. The axe hits and the armor spike goes off, and you watch as like parts of the shards go into its eye, and it starts to like lose its vision in one side. Its jaw is now like knocking from side to side, and you're seeing like parts of the claws start to like come away slightly as it's trying to claw into you, and it looks really, really, really one hit point away, really hurt. However, it had 19 hit points, by the way, left.
Yeah, figured it would.
It just, in one final attempt to try and swallow you, you leap back. It clamps its jaws onto possibly one of the spikes that you left on the ground with a nat 1. Do you want to roll 2d6 for me?
Oh!
Which it doesn't matter. Do you want to tell us how you kill the Bulette?
For fuck's sakes, I rolled 2 1s on the double sixes. As it misses me and I leap back, and it clamps down on one of the spikes, piercing itself. As it rears back in the squeal of pain, I bury my axe in the underside of its mouth, so a soft part on the top of the jaw, aiming for the brain.
And with that, it slumps to the ground with almost like a boulder hitting the ground. And yeah, he just lies there motionless. Bessie dead, the tools destroyed, this field splattered in blood in this area. And a little worse for wear, Clive. You knew this was the right contract to take on. And that's that. You have beaten the Bulette. So, that's pretty quick. The dice rolls were in your favour there, which is amazing, because if they hadn't...
I tell you what, if I hadn't rolled a barbarian, I would have been screwed.
Yes, exactly that. I think that if it was a sorcerer, you would have had to have had some decent spells that alter the mind or illusion. Yeah. Otherwise, it just would have gone south quickly. So I think you got very lucky with the class there, which is awesome. And yeah, that is the Bulette in a combat against one person. How are you getting on with your painting? And I will check chat. So, Ian, tell Richard about my idea for the starter set of one of each mini plus the book, and if you join him, you can supply the dice. Have I missed something there? Bloody hell, Rich, make a bundle set which has one of every monster plus the book. I think that's what we missed.
That'd be a fucking massive set.
That would be huge. That costs so much. But yeah, has anybody at home, apart from because Velvet said that she'd faced a Bulette, has anybody else used them in their campaigns? How do you find the monster? How do you find the stat block? Do you think it's a good monster to put in at low levels? Do you think it's manageable? Is it just good for people in parties who are travelling? And in the meantime, I'm taking some some desert yellow from the army painter, and I'm using that as my second layer on top of the brown to give it a sort of sandstone look. What are you up to?
I'm just trying to do some of the base and some of the rocks around it, and I feel this is a bit too light.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the top blue is very light blue. I might have to mix in a bit of the... I might actually mix in a bit of the bone colour I've used, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just to see what it looks like.
Yeah, fair enough. I'm trying to do a thick layer of this sandstone colour, and then I'm going to try and blend it into a bone colour moving up towards that blue. But what we're hoping to try and get is all of these like undersides. It's like a turtle's belly, essentially, and yeah, it's very Blastoise Squirtle underneath, which is why I kind of want to go for those colours there, and then the blues on the top. Ian, is that a brush or a fishing float? This thing. Yeah, I get that. This is actually a Hobbycraft special, a Pro Art one. I really like these brushes. They're like £3 and they're nice and thin, which is what I like. So I need to grab now. I've got that one done there. I'm going to grab our grey, because we've got these grey-like claws on the monster manual. So I'm going to grab grey and white for the claws. In fact, I've actually already got some out. Keep it nice and thin. What's everybody up to today? Is everybody having a good time? Are they all at work? Have you got the day off? Are you skiving just to watch us paint up some minis and play D&D? Which I've got to say, Richard, actually, being able to play D&D for an hour once a week is actually relatively fun. We just like smash through a combat in like half an hour for this one.
It's pretty damn cushy, isn't it?
Yeah, I quite like it. It's fun. I've certainly had worse jobs.
That I have.
I mean, oh, this sucks, you're terrible. Can't let him feel too good about himself. No, I couldn't treat you like Dave treats Steve.
There'd be a few words shared if that was the case.
Yes, I think so, there would be. Right, I'm going to grab some more white and start adding that into the carapace there. And then I can take some skeleton bone and then start bringing it down from the top of those legs and those muscles, and then bring that into the brown beneath. Dragon School's off work for the day. Damn, dude, I hope that's for good reasons, and I hope that you have a nice relaxing day. Dibs, I've got every day off. Yes, you do. Can't paint through. Builder's disconnected the electricity to my garage/paint den. That fucking sucks. You need to take over the rest of the house now. It's for the cause. It's for the cause. I might even add a little bit, teeny tiny bit of that grey into that blue, just to give us a slight difference. And then we are going to come in from the underside, especially on that bigger carapace. I use a wet tissue and I pull the moisture out of the brush again while trying to leave the pigment on for things like line highlights.
How long have you got time-wise?
You know, we've still got 28 minutes. I was trying to rush this, and actually, I can now take my time. So I'm now painting lines essentially onto the carapace. There are already a set of lines that are on there, but I'm going to try and do a few extra ones so we've got some definition and some dynamics, which is what I like in my paint jobs. And since I've got the time to do it, since I don't need to worry about the combat now, because Richard smashed it, we have some fun. Oh, my mum has surgery tomorrow morning. Oh, I hope she's okay as well. I do have you guys on the living room TV. Hell yeah. That's the first time somebody said that. We're in somebody's house now. We're a household brand. We're a household name.
That's what I like to do.
Can we be that arrogant? Hey Mum, look, I'm on the big screen. I'm kidding, my mum doesn't care. So how goeth the blue? Are you changing that up now?
Yeah, adding a bit of a lighter grey, and I'm going to change. I'll add a dry brush in afterwards to.
So we're starting to get those striations on mine there, from the light blue to the dark blue. Ah, Kiddaroo, we put you on the big screen for all of us to watch when we are home when you're on. That's amazing, thank you. I don't know why that makes me feel so good and slightly narcissistic. Grab the other bits of this carapace. That base is still drying though, so it's going to take me a little while before I can get to it. I'm hoping I don't get a repeat of the other week with the... Oh, what did we paint? What's that thing with the trees? The blights.
Oh, the blights.
Yeah, because my base didn't dry in time. And that was really annoying.
Yeah, they were a little bit of an interesting one, trying to get the stuff drying and whatnot.
Well, I mean, we did 3 in 1 week. Yeah. Which was...
That was quite impressive.
Yeah, I enjoyed it, Mary. I think the rush to try and get them done was really... because you're awesome. Thank you very much. Yeah, to get them done.
It was one of those ones that couldn't be done with, like, if we did it with 3 goblins, it couldn't be done.
No. But it's also one of those ones, if we'd have done it as a single thing, it would have been done in 5 minutes.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been as good, as impactful.
I think the combat would have lasted about 3, and I think the painting would have lasted about 5. I think what I might do as well with this carapace, now that I've got the time, is repaint back in some of the shade between those deeper lines with possibly a contrast blue, like Azuman blue or something. Or maybe even my favourite Templar black.
I think I'm definitely going to pop a wash on this one.
Is it still too bright for you, is it?
Well, I've dulled it now, and I'll dry brush it, but it's like you said, you know, there's lots of recesses on it. I want a bit of recessiness.
Some depth to it.
No, I like my word more. Recessiness sounds much better.
Recessiness.
Much more professional.
Oh yeah. So obviously use use washes more than I do. I don't use them all that much. I try not to because I'm not good with them. However, how do you find, like, tell us how you tend to use them, what your techniques are. We may as well, now we've got the time to not be in combat, let's talk about what we use them for. And difference dark and half nightshade. Yes, actually, that's a good one.
I tend to use 3 mainly. So I've obviously Known Oil. Sorry, tell a lie, 4. Known Oil, Reichland Flesh Shade, and Agrax Earthshade. Mm-hmm. But I also have a Reichland Flesh Shade that I have darkened with a bit of Agrax Earthshade to mix them together, and I'll use them. I'll full recesses, and I won't dip the model in it basically, unless I'm doing certain effects where I'll slather it over and then I'll dab over with a sponge.
Yes.
To get certain effects.
That's cool.
I've been painting a house recently with a very cool effect on the outside of that, which was done with a wash and a sponge.
Was that the one in the group?
Yes.
That was very cool. The stucco on the outside, that kind of like... It's really hard to get that colour, isn't it? Because you think it's going to be like a yellow or a cream. It's actually a bone. I think I ended up using for mine. And then went in with a sepia wash with an airbrush to shade in the corners. But so I use a lot of my washes and stuff through an airbrush if I'm going to use them. And simply because I put areas of shadow rather than paint in. So I would go in underneath like the armpits on a mini, or I would go in to the underside of arms or the inside of legs. And that's my usual go-to with them if I'm trying to spend ages and like really give a character or a miniature those depths and those shades. I sometimes use a wash on something to make it stand out, but I really struggle with like that wet look still at the end, and I can't seem to get it right. So I find that now I use Black Templar to paint back in the lines rather than to shade.
Just use a matte varnish.
Yeah, still, it just still doesn't cut the mustard for me. I find that like, yeah, it just changes the tones that I've done as well. So I just got rid of them. I was like, if I'm not going to use them through an airbrush, then I'm going to, not going to use them. But there are some, terrain basing is one of the times I'll use them as they're intended. And that's, especially with things like orange or red sand that I did for my clone troopers. I used a lot of the Fugarin orange. Is it Fugarin orange? Yeah, Fugarin orange and the sepia, which actually was really, really nice. Right, I need some more of that Lovely, lovely sandstone yellow. You got 20 minutes, Richard. Do you think you'll be done in time?
I bloody hope so.
Yeah, I think I'm going to smash this one out now.
I want to do a bit more on the base because I want to get it glued to the base.
See, that's the good thing about the WizKids one. I don't need to do that, which is really quite nice.
Well, this one actually stands on its own as well. I just like the base, so...
Yeah, that's fair enough. This one just comes in and out of the base, which is really cool.
That's quite handy, actually.
It is, yeah, and it's still drying at the moment, but that's the greys and the browns together, and what I will do is as soon as that is dry, I can dry brush in some lighter greys on some of the stonework, and I'll go darker on the actual hole in the middle there, and then I'll do some lighter browns on some of the soil that's come up. But it's one of my favourite bases that they do. I think it's one of the best posed minis. Dragonborn, thank you. We were told it would be an 8-hour surgery. Damn! Dibs. A house? Are you painting a house, Rich? Hee hee. I'm going to presume that it's for dibs.
It might happen to be so.
Right. I need a pink. A decent pink. I want Warlock purple. Which is from the Army Painter, and I think it's a pink. It's like this kind of fleshy dark pink in there. And I'm going to mix that with some of the purple and then start trying to layer up inside that mouth. Because that, I think, is going to take the longest after the base to dry. So, let's grab a little bit of both. Might even grab just a little bit of that shaded blue, just to knock it back a bit into the lighter purples. Okay. And this is quite a big brush that I'm about to use, but it's got a really wide, thick tongue in there.
No, the bloody base isn't quite dry.
Yeah, same. So I'm trying to leave mine well the fuck alone. I'm then going to try and feather that pink back out to the purple just by getting a wet brush with no paint on it and just thinning out where I want it to be more transparent. Hopefully leaving it slightly lighter at the front, and then we'll go in again with just that pink on its own just to get the tip, just a little tippy tip of that tongue. And we'll do the same thing where we feather it out once more into the slightly lighter purple behind it.
I think I'm also going to use a bit of Sterland mud.
Oh!
To add a bit of mud around the base where it's come out of the ground on this one.
That's going to take 12 hours to dry. So, we have that one there. Let's grab... I still need that bone. So I'm going to use skeletal bone, which is another favourite of mine from the Army Painter. And I'm going to try and very, very carefully dry brush this into the tops of those shoulders and those areas that are the lightest of browns in the picture. And it's sort of like the tip of the underside of the jaw, the tops of the arms, the tops of the legs. And we'll try and go from there. And hopefully we'll get a nice little fade. But I need a very directional brush. I'm going to take the majority of that off, and I'm just going to try and be as careful as possible. Just bring that in and not to go onto the carapace.
I will take this slight quiet moment. So with the bullets, the set that they are from, the Gnomes of Golemar, I think they're called. From today's stream, anyone messages me afterwards, they can have a discount on the whole bundle if they wanted it, or any sort of breakdown of it thereof. I'm doing a 10% discount.
10%?
And it'd be even cheaper as well, because obviously on Etsy it's up for a certain amount of price, but I'll do it for much lower than that as well.
Well, yeah, Etsy prices are crazy, right?
Well, I have to add a fair bit because of the fees they try and sting me with.
Yeah, that's why I don't sell on Etsy.
I'd hate to think, I mean, obviously, you know, considering some of the stuff you have to do and the bits and pieces, it will be insane.
Yeah, and it's I try and keep my selling prices down as it is on the dice anyway, just because.
I try and keep as low as possible, but postage prices have gone up recently.
Yes.
Resin costs have gone up. Obviously, electricity's gone up.
Yep.
Petrol's gone up. And because I was having this debate with someone because they asked me why something I had. They were questioning the price of why I charged it. I literally sent them back a list of everything I have to consider and factor in.
Yeah.
And they then said, "Oh, that's too much. That's still too much." And I was like, "It was a 40 quid thing." And I said, "How much are you paid an hour at work?" And they went, £18 an hour. And I said, "Well, that takes up an hour and a half of my time. So do you want me to add on a cost for that as well?"
Yeah, and I think that's kind of one of the standard things. Like, because I find that certain parts of the dice making process for me are really, really quite time consuming, and actually it comes down to sanding and inking. And most of the time that I do the show Dice Masters here on the show, on the channel, it's just me literally sanding through sets, and I've got sets I've been doing for months because I've got other things that I also need to be getting on with, and they're sort of on the back burner, whereas I've got other sets that are ready to go. So the actual material costs are lower compared to my time, and I think absolutely fair for you to charge for your time.
It's the biggest cost that no one ever factors in if you're a private business.
Yes, but
just the joy of it all.
I agree, but I at least have fun doing it, and I wouldn't do any other job.
No, I do love my job, and I love my customers, and I wouldn't change it for the world now because the people I've met and the experiences I've had have saved me. I've got to say.
Yeah, I agree, and actually we have this here in the channel, and especially in this chat and stuff. I'm very open about mental health and my poor mental health and having complex PTSD. And actually, if it wasn't for this channel, if it wasn't for the hobby, then I agree. It absolutely has saved me. So I think that, thank you to the community. I love having these guys here. I can't wait to build it up and hopefully be a safe place for so many other people. It's my absolute pride and joy being here. So I'm taking some azure blue, which was my contrast, and I think I fucked up and added too much to one area, so I might have to go over the entire carapace now.
Oh no.
And hope that it doesn't look awful. I've got 13 minutes to try and save this.
You used azure blue, did you?
Yeah. I'm actually just going to water it down and hope for the best.
I'm trying to find it actually, azure blue. Is it one of the lighter ones or darker ones?
It's one of the darker ones.
Contrast, yeah?
Yes.
I don't appear to have it.
Oh, what? It's my favourite blue from the contrast range.
Well, I should have it because I bought the whole contrast range, so...
Ooh. The only friends I have now are you guys and gals on here. You keep me almost sane. I love you all. Yeah. I'm glad that we can be of help, Dibs. If we are help. I don't know if I am. You guys are certainly help to me. Miss Lounge. Almost is pretty good these days. Almost is about right, eh, Miss Lounge? I'm almost okay. Okay, we're at the 12-minute mark.
We've got 12 minutes.
12 minutes. I thought I was going to smash this out, and then I fucked up with the contrast paint.
Where I've been using the free paints, I've not been using the wet palette, so I've basically just got a bit of the tracing paper on top of my desk here. I'm trying not to spill paint everywhere.
I suppose I should say to people what I'm actually up to. So I'm using the azure blue, and I'm going quite heavily over the back end of the carapaces now, and then I'm using water to thin it down and push it around as if I was wet blending, and hoping to get back that really light electric blue for the top of that carapace that I specifically went in and highlighted up. And hopefully the pigment will sit in the darker recesses, almost like a wash. And at the same time, I need to grab
I think drying is going to be my bugbear. I might not be able to get the top layer dry brush done.
Oh, bugbear. That was
Right.
So guys at home, if you ever try and paint up an entire monster manual 1 hour at a time, sometimes it's not enough when you think it's going to be. Glorious Zert, welcome to Dragonborn Industries. We are doing painting up the monster manual. Our challenge each week, we have 1 hour to paint each monster in turn of the monster manual. We are on episode 19, the Bulette. We also run a combat at the same time, which Richard smashed today and destroyed it. He has to roll a random level 3 character each week, and he absolutely destroyed it. I then went and fucked up my entire paint job by adding too much contrast paint, which I'm now trying to cover up by adding more contrast paint to different areas. And yeah, we've got about 10 minutes left to try and get these minis tabletop ready. That's the whole premise of the show. Last week we did 2 minis each. We did the Bugbear and the Bugbear Chief. And next week we are on the Bullywug, one of my favourite looking monsters.
Is that one WizKids has got a model for?
Yep, I've got it sat in front of me, primed and ready to go. There it is.
Oi, who said you could be so...
Mate, I'm fucking on it this week.
Prepared, yeah, like a bastard this week, yeah.
On it. Like
on
a
it, like
rash.
on it.
Okay, so I'm going to use a little bit of... I'm using Skeleton Horde just to try and, again, now act as a wash, which is something I don't normally do. Because I fucked up and I need this to cover up my mistakes. I'm then going to take my Templar Black underneath and I'm going to paint in those lines between the cavities on the chest. So, we have this area under here which is very Squirtle in terms of the kind of turtle underside. And I'm going to now paint in the thick black lines between it, hopefully. Let's see what's going on in chat. There's a few things here. Kobold Master Race. Painting a mini in an hour following the monster manual. Yes, that is exactly what we're doing in Dragon School. Loser also has a taser connected to their chair. Shh, we didn't tell them that bit though. Richard, have you ever been tased?
No.
I have. Yeah, that's...
You can't just leave it at that, you know, mate. You've now got to tell the story.
I have, but Dibs has put in a pretty big comment that I'm like, I don't know whether or not I'm supposed to read. So Dibs, let me know.
Has he been naughty again?
No. It's very honest about his illness. So I'm going to try and paint in those black lines now, and I'm using Black Templar because it thins itself really nicely for deep recesses like this.
I have managed to achieve an accidental effect on this with blood coming out of its mouth.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I put in too much speed paint in its mouth. Doesn't look too bad.
I look forward to seeing it. Yes, I got tased in Canada.
Oh yeah?
Several times. Simply because we got the chance to be tasered.
Oh, is that when you were on deployment?
Yeah, so they said essentially we had like a chat with the Canadian police there in Alberta. Yeah, calls for us, I wouldn't have typed it. Cool, so Dib said, before I go on to the next bit, having cancer is a bit like having a baby. And for those, Dibs does have cancer, this is not a joke. When diagnosed, everyone is your best mate and comes to see you, but then they are kind of faced with their own mortality and can't bear to see you, or they don't know how to react. And they all dwindle off. You lot, especially you and Beardy, have been with me at my worst and have never left me feeling alone. Dude, thank you so much for that kind words. And yeah, it's unfortunately shit things happen to people, and yeah, we'll be here for you. Never a problem. Yeah,
You're an arsehole.
Yeah, you're our asshole. So that's what I'm doing with the black underneath, is to repaint back in those darkened lines just underneath there, like that. I would go in and do more, but I am running out of time. We have 7 minutes. Yeah, in Canada, basically, the police gave us like a little thing saying, we know you're English, we know you like to drink. When you go out, just be polite. Try not to get in too many fights. If you urinate in public, we will tase you, and being tased is not a challenge. To which then everyone was like, well, it kind of is. And they were like, well, if you want to test it out, and they set up a whole thing, and basically like, yeah, you could take it in turns to get tased. And It's quite involuntary what happens to you, and yet I find myself laughing when it happens.
Yeah, one of those glorious things.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Right, I need to grab some white just to highlight those claws a little bit, but my base is still ever so wet. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get a dry brush on there.
I need to be able to dry brush the bloody the top of it, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that. And I've not got my airbrush near me to be able to.
We done
because
fucked up.
It's by the door because I was priming about 3 seconds before we got on.
God. Magenta. Let's get that eye popping. And around the tongue. Add a different kind of red into the gap. Right, I'm nearly tabletop ready. So, and again, to anybody who's just tuning in, the purpose is to try and be tabletop ready in an hour. To show you that you don't need to be the best painter in the world, and that although Richard and I can spend hours and hours or days and days on a mini, we've only given ourselves an hour per mini for this particular challenge, which has proven to be
Challenging.
really challenging, especially when I know I can paint better. But it has been fun. It's really, really been fun, and I've enjoyed this entire series because not only has it been absolute chaos and we made it really hard for ourselves by rolling initiative with it all, but actually I'm going to have a set of monsters from the monster manual ready to go anytime I need them. So let's grab. I started playing soon after as a way to deal with it. Yeah, fair enough. Tips, I'm an arsehole of the highest order. Glorious Zote, laugh my ass off. I'd be concerned with a time constraint choosing the right colours on a damn Hero Forge mini online. Yeah, it's really hard. Especially, usually, I would go out of my way to go, right, I'm going to use these colours today, and then I've got a plan in action. And then all of a sudden, today, like 3 minutes before the show, I was like, Richard, I'm at the computer. And then I hit the live button before Richard was even on the call. And then I went and got my paints and thought, oh, I'm fucked. So that's sort of where we went with today. That's what we're going with inside the mouth for 1 hour. It's going to have to do. We've got the magenta around there to make the tongue stand out. We've got the magenta in the eyes there to give them a little depth. We've got the underside looking a little bit more depthly. Recessioned. What was your word earlier?
Recessed.
Recessed.
Or recessed.
Recessed, that was it. I liked that word. Let's add a little bit more of a highlight to those claws. And then I'm going to have to try and dry brush this base to make it look anywhere good. Oh, I don't like that it's got wet bits on it.
How long have we got?
3 minutes 23.
Bollocks.
Bollocks! Rush, 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 rush! I best have a drink while I'm waiting, eh? Let's really take away my own time. What's going on in chat here? So this community is awesome. Even the ginger pasty, and I love. All appreciate you. And I am ginger, and I'm an orange sensation. I'm damn proud of it. Glorious. So this is not the perfect eye colour. Now it's true that I'm a bit of a perfectionist, but still, yeah. And I do the same thing when I've got time to paint. This show, I'm just like smash them out, go. Which end? I'll probably be back tomorrow evening painting up Rebecca Chambers from Resident Evil, the final of the characters to go. We did Chris, Jill, and Barry already. Sat there. Nice little paint house. It takes me about 2 hours to do one of those.
You should do Wesker first. You need the main guys done.
Wesker's not one of the main characters. He's an advanced character or a bad guy. And I will be doing Wesker at the top of my starting the enemies because they're all done. They're all primed. They're all zenithed. And I'm shitting myself. Right, I need to quickly grab a brown that's going to work for my soil. I want Monster Brown from the Army Painter. I like that brown. It's kind of matted. It's just light enough to add a bit of a direction of light as well. Oh God, I'm nearly out of it as well. Damn it, Army Painter, sponsor the show. Send us some paints.
We'll love you forever.
I'm not promising that.
I am.
No, I'm non-committal. I think I'm married.
Let me think.
No, I am 100% married. Think I've got kids? Can you be uncommittal to kids?
Depends what they break in a day.
Right. 1 minute, Richard. I'm gonna, as much as I hate this, I'm gonna leave mine be. I want to do so much more, but I don't have the time. You've got 1 minute. Fuck it, he's getting the paint out. He's doing one more. Fuck you, Ian. Fuck you.
I will be finishing this one off today, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's not much left to do. He's basically tabletop, but
I'm definitely tabletop. There's a few areas I can just do a little bit of separation with my Black Templar just to make it look a bit more detailed. I think I'm going to leave it there. Oh. Right.
I need to get down the paint shop.
Me too. Hero Forge is also funny in where it can go making a mini. Start making a bard, end up with a sorcerer, do slight edits to make it a wizard. Yes, time! Pens down. Paintbrushes down, Richard. Yeah, Glorious, I love Hero Forge. In fact, I actually have none of them in front of me. They were there yesterday. They're all over there now because I moved them for today's show. But I use them a lot. And actually, when we start Starfinder on the 20th of November, put it in your calendars, folk, live here in the studio. The campaign begins. We are, a lot of the players are using Hero Forge minis, which Richard is printing out for me. I 3D print, and I've gone to him.
Printed. They're in the kitchen at the moment.
Fuck yeah. Oh, I'm so excited. And I'll ask you your favourite one off the stream, because there's still 2 more to send to you once I get them. So I might share my latest Hero Forge. Yeah, Gloria, so we are a community where if you've got an Instagram page, you've got your own Twitch, feel free to put it in the comments, put it into the chat, let people come find you. We're all about sharing each other. My guys do the same. And yeah, I'm going to have a quick look at that before we go on to what we've done. I might have to do that after the chat, because Hero Forge and Twitch at the same time do not like each other. So, Dibs, Dragon, my oncologist told my wife to find me a hobby for my mental health, and she chose this, thinking it would be cheap and easy. No. Cool. So, 1 hour. Richard, did you manage to get it tabletop ready?
I am tabletop ready. I'm not pleased with it, but I'm tabletop ready.
Oh, God, no, I'm not pleased with mine in the slightest. I think this is one of the worst paint jobs I've done on the show. However, I'll let you go first, because usually I show mine and then you show yours, and yours is amazing and mine's a piece of shit. So, okay, pull back.
God's sakes, I'll tell you what. All right, fat fingers.
Be about there. There you go, there you go. I see, no, I think that's worked out quite well. You've got that blue on there that's really like, just like the Monster Manual. You've got the grey claws, you've got the groundwork going really well, and it's jumping out of the ground. You know, as far as tabletop goes, that's definitely immersive enough that you can throw that onto a table and definitely be like, you're fighting that.
Like you, I buggered up with the top of the carapace trying to get the effect I wanted, so...
Oh, I hugely fucked up. It was not good. But there it is. So, obviously the base, I love that this comes apart. I was trying to wet blend it, but I did too much wet. And then trying to dry brush over it, it's just smeared a lot of it. But that's what you get when you try and rush wet blending and dry brushing at the same time. The underside, we've got, Dragon School, thank you very much. I will take the compliment and nom nom nom. We've got that depth at least to those segments of the underside of the body, and we've got that blue purple tongue with a darker red, and then the carapace we attacked with many different highlights of blue and then covered it in contrast because I made a mistake. then we tried to get a lighter brown to bone on top, going back down to that sand colour underneath. So that is going to have to be the best we can do for now. But I will take pictures of that, and I'll put them up on my Instagram, which will be at Dragonborn Industries / at the Dragonborn Bard, and Richard will be doing the same with his. And yeah, it's been an absolute blast. Let's just have a quick look at what people are saying. So I want to see if I can load up that Hero Forge. I want to see it. I want to see a Hero Forge. No, it's not going to let me see it, is it? Damn it, Twitch and an old computer. But I will have a look at that one just after the stream. Geeky Phoenix, same, just got Super Backer on Kickstarter, which prompted me to check what I'd spent. Not a good thing to do. No, I'm awful for Kickstarter. Glorious Oak was meant to be some sort of demonic fox humanoid. Was thinking about Arcana Loss. I've got one of those over there, which isn't quite the same as what I've made, but still, I will definitely check that out afterwards, which I'm very interested in, because one, I love the Kitsune from Pathfinder and Starfinder, because who doesn't love Star Fox? Dibs, haha, I think I so and so much I pay Richard's rent every month. Yeah, I can imagine that. Spend so much. And yeah, the guys say that's awesome. Dibs says that's awesome. Yeah, thank you guys for all the lovely, lovely compliments. I think that we achieved tabletop ready in the hour, but I don't think I'm as happy with it as I was for like the Rug of Smothering or the Behir and some of the other miniatures that we've done. Dragon's also sent me a picture. Absalom, hey, how you doing? Great job, thank you very much. Next we've got the Bullywug though, and actually I like painting greenskin, so I think it's going to be quite a fun one. What do you think about the Bullywug?
I need to go and have a look at it, see what it is.
It's a frog person, but it's not a the other frog class. They look like
That's
this.
not a Murloc.
There you go. That's a Bullywug.
I think right model that'll be hopefully a wham bam one, bit of speed paint, done.
Yeah, so I think it's going to be quite an easy paint job for me on that one next week. They're a low CR, so it's going to take you one turn to kick its face off, and then I think it's going to be not a grung, Fluffy. That's the one. Not a grung. So there are grungs which are like jungle frogs, and these ones are like garden frogs, which is pretty good. And yeah, that is going to be next week's. I'm going to double check my calendar to make sure we are back next week. I'm pretty sure we are.
Pretty sure we are.
Yeah, we're back next week. Because it's half term as well here, so you'll have kids running around your house, and I'll be hiding up here in the studio. Guys, thank you so much, especially to anybody new in chat. Feel free to give us a follow if you enjoyed the show. We are going to put it out on YouTube. It's going to be on there as well. We've got, I've got Band of Badgers tonight on there, twitch.tv/Band of Badgers. Richard and I will be back next week. Actually, Richard, I want to organise a paint show with you so I can paint that big Dragonborn that you sent me. And then we will, go from there. Guys, thank you so much. We're back next week for episode 20, which is the Bullywug. Episode 20, Richard! 20. Guys, thank you so much. And may the dice gods be ever in your favour. I'll set up a raid and we'll see you around. Take it easy.